you recognize the Native American lady?
Somewhat. Couldn't quite place her.
It was his wife from The Life of Chuck.
Oh, fuck.
It was just like, wait. The second I saw her, I was like, I feel like I've got my whole life without noticing this actress, and today I saw her twice.
Well, that was a movie.
Hello, and welcome to First Thoughts. I'm Simon, this is Justin, you're short again, and welcome back to...
Told me we were starting.
Our first thoughts today are about the Unholy Trinity, the new film directed by Richard Gray, written by Lee Zachariah, starring Pierce Brosnan, Samuel L. Jackson, and Brendan Lessard. It's also got Tim Daly. Who the hell is Tim Daly, and why do I care? That name sounds familiar. Superman. Superman. Holy hell. Right. Okay. Anyway, Superman's in this movie.
Nice.
It's also got David Arquette. I wanted to call him Patrick Arquette, but his sister is Patricia Arquette. They're related, right? I'm not just assuming that. How many Arquettes do you know?
There's a lot of Arquettes in this world, you know. It's probably their name. You ever heard Patel in India? There's Arquette, wherever they're from.
Yeah, okay, so this is a low-budget Western about a guy that goes to a town because his dad, right before he's hanged, tells him that he was falsely accused by the sheriff in this town and needs to go kill him. So he goes to the town and runs into Pierce Brosnan and Samuel L. Jackson on the way. And, oh, good golly, this was a paycheck for some people. Yeah, it's a very low-budget movie. It feels like a TV movie or straight to streaming, not because like TV movies aren't really a thing anymore. Yeah. But it felt like a TV movie. I mean, Pierce Brosnan was trying a little bit. Samuel L. Jackson was not trying at all, but he was still better than everybody else because the cast is bad, other than the people that I named, that you recognize their names. But even so, Samuel L. Jackson sleepwalking through this movie was still the best thing about it. It's so low budget, it's so boring, the writing is contrived as hell, the dialogue sucks except for there's a couple of fun little lines here or there, but I mean, like, they have dialogue throughout this whole movie that is akin to, there's one moment where the guy goes, bam, that's for my brother, bam, that's for whoever, and this one's for me, and punches him a third time. That is the type of dialogue in this movie. It's bad. And this movie is very boring. Right, Justin?
Very boring.
How much did you see?
Like 3/4. 3/4?
Yeah. I can test that. We need to get surveillance footage.
How much do you think I saw?
I thought you saw about half of it at most. At most. Your head was not in a bunch.
Oh, I made it. Well, not all of it.
There's not much to say about it. Like, it's pretty paint by numbers, cookie cutter, just... We're gonna go do a thing, and then we're distracted by this thing, and then we're gonna do that thing, and characters have pistols.
Listen, it's a Western. And I gotta say...
Yeah, but Westerns can be good.
Oh, I like Westerns. I didn't like this Western.
No.
But, you know, this seemed to have all the elements of what you want of a Western.
Sure.
You know, it had a remote town, and a sheriff with a backstory, and... a couple of evil characters that you got to figure out about. The new kids finding out about his past. Hidden treasure. Prostitutes.
Mysterious. Yeah. God.
There's a decent amount of gunfighting, even if it wasn't that interesting.
This is the most PG-13 R-rated movie. I just checked that it was R-rated.
I forgot that.
Because, and it seriously is, I think just because of the amount of times they say fuck. Because they avoid all sex, even though there's plenty of sex. They avoid all violence, even though there's plenty of violence.
It's so crazy how many people get shot for how so little blood and, like, just anything there is. Like,
I love how the prostitute is like, here, grab my boob, but cover my nipple. And I was like, I'm covering it. Grab it. Ha! Ha!
No. You gotta let go for a second.
Yeah.
Let go, and then right back.
And then I'll take off my shirt, but we won't look. We're not looking. Yeah. You know what this movie was? This is Western movie Mad Libs. We just played Mad Libs. And I was just like, all right, so we got a, give me a noun.
We got a horse.
Horse, okay. And the horse takes the main character to
a town.
Town, okay, town. And his dad secretly has a lot of
Gold! In them Gnaw Hills!
And so he goes into the saloon, and it's so blah, dude. Like, I don't know. I don't watch like crappy TV movies all that much, but you know who does? My parents. And so I catch some every once in a while, and I just sit there and go, how can you watch this? And this movie, I think, would bore my parents.
Gosh. Now, I have seen a ton of bad TV movies. That's honestly how I saw quite a few movies I would never have seen growing up. My dad's roommate was also a fan of the Lifetime Movie Network.
Oh, wonderful.
I have seen like 50 of those. Some of them were more exciting than this.
No, I've seen plenty of good TV movies.
Well, I'm talking Lifetime ones.
This is not. Jesus. Other than a couple of quips here or there, like at one point there's a funny thing when it was like, I don't think he's a real pastor. What, a Lutheran? That was funny.
That might have been the funniest
That was the best line in the movie. But then there's also a couple of lines where, first of all, like I said, Pierce Brosnan is trying at least a little bit. And so he's got a couple of good deliveries. And Samuel Jackson is sleepwalking, but he can't help but have a couple of good deliveries in there anyway. Like there's a one point where the one character is like, all right, I'm going to come over to you. And he goes, okay, come on. And just the way he was like, come on. I was like, I love that. That was such a good delivery. But like, yeah, I don't know how they got this cast. Because, I mean, I guess, but like, it's low budget. I guess all the money they had went to them.
Yeah. We don't need the budget for the actual movie. We got to get the actors in.
One good thing that happens with low budget movies like this is, at least it was shot on location. You know, there wasn't awful CGI backdrops and stuff. They were in a town somewhere, and that's cool.
What are you talking about, man? If this was made by Disney, they have that big screen they can use.
Right. They would have filmed it in Canada, and it would have looked like Polar Express. I don't know. Yeah, this movie is not good. It's really contrived. Everything just seems to happen. Like, I mean, I don't relate or care about any of the characters. And every event that happens just happened purely so the plot could go on. Like, I was like, why? Like, the whole thing with the prostitute, I was just like, why are these characters in this movie? I don't understand. I still don't know the connection with the Blackfoot tribe girl. Like,
oh, between, like, her...
I mean, I literally do because they spell it out. But I'm like, why was that part of the movie?
Well, you know, you gotta have a crew for that sort of thing.
Do we?
Apparently. It wasn't terribly interesting. It wasn't a terribly interesting mystery.
It's only 90 minutes, and I was bored out of my brain.
Yeah, I was checking the clock repeatedly. That's how I know how long I made it.
In between naps. Like,
listen, if I took any naps before, like, 2/3 of this movie in, I didn't miss anything at all.
No.
I got the entire plot till then.
No, you missed nothing. You could have slept through the whole thing and you wouldn't have missed anything. 4. Because its biggest complaint is just how boring it is. But it's also actively bad. But not really actively bad, just boring and unforgettable. And like I said, there's a couple of fun lines in there. So I think 4. Maybe I'm in a good mood. But I'm giving it a 4.
Damn. I guess I was gonna go 5.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go lower.
Well, I mean, 5 is really bad for me. It feels crazy going lower, but like, it could deserve it.
If you fall asleep during it, I feel like you're allowed to give it worse than a 5.
That's fair. It's just boring as hell.
Oh my god, yes. There's not even anything to talk about it.
I didn't even think it was horrific or anything. It's just boring.
Yeah.
It wasn't interesting.
No.
No one seemed to really care that much.
Or care.
And then, like, why are you hiding the gore in the West? People are getting shot. You're not shying away from shooting people. You're shying away from everything that comes with it.
I think it's too expensive.
I guess.
Maybe the gore effects were too expensive. No, they didn't have any blood. Oh, God. Are we done? Is there...
We definitely didn't talk about this movie at all.
There's nothing to talk about.
It's like a 5.
That's fine with me. There's nothing to say.
You want to talk about his hunt for his father's gold, or
No.
the sheriff's in the Black Guy's connection to his father,
No.
or the Native Americans family that his father killed for their no.
No. Why didn't any of the
Or-
good guys die? None of the good guys. The worst thing that happened to any of the good guys was he got shot in the kneecap at the end.
Yeah.
Everything else was just like, when they were all held up in the house, I was like, all right, well, she's gonna die, he might die. And then none of them did. I was like, really? That was lame.
Come on, this ain't that kind of Western. This ain't a
What
tragic
kind of Western is it? Nothing.
It's the one where everything goes happy in the end, and
Kind of.
nothing matters.
And that final line too. So like they set the church on fire. Well, they don't. Samuel L. Jackson does when he falls over dying, which was funny too. Like the fire was still small, and they just dipped. I'm like, you could have put it out.
It was already on fire. They damaged the floor a little already. It's just like
But so
it's gone.
they get down to the bar, the saloon, and they're sitting there as the bell's ringing like there's a fire department, but nobody's doing anything about it. And then the final like line of the movie, almost, if not literally, is the guy goes, "Yeah, I think I've had enough of preachers," or something like that. I'm
Yeah.
like, what? What? So there was the one bad guy who pretended to be a preacher.
Yeah.
He's been dead for half an hour of the movie. At least. Probably more. Probably like 45 minutes.
I think so. Yeah.
What are you... You were in the church? So what? Huh? That line made no sense.
Listen. There was that preacher, right?
There was
And
the
then-
dead good preacher.
Yeah. And he was a man of God before the whiskey and the women and the killing and the gold hunting.
Sure, maybe. You don't know. That's the other thing, too. Is
Maybe
like,
he wanted to be
he's
a
left
priest
to
before
assume that his dad was actually a good guy. I'm like, I kind of believe Samuel L. Jackson. I thought his dad was a piece of shit.
Kind of sounded like his dad.
Yeah. I'm like, I have no reason not to believe that.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. Well, he
And, like,
sold me
there's-
into slavery and stole half the gold. It's like, yeah, no, that does sound like something he might do.
Yeah,
Damn.
I just believed it. And I was like, yeah, sucks your dad's a piece of shit. Doesn't mean you have to be. Because, like, early in this movie, there's a line Pierce Brosnan has where he's like, being good or evil often depends on whose side of the story you're on. I'm
Right.
paraphrasing. But essentially they say that. And I kept assuming that point was going to come back. Because shortly after that line is said, the main character guy is in a room with the prostitute and this miner guy. Not a miner.
Literally.
He mines.
He yearns for the mines.
And the miner guy shoots the prostitute, so he shoots the miner. And so now they just heard 2 gunshots, and now he's the only one alive in the room, so they assume he killed both of them and ran. And I'm like, okay, so we're gonna go down the rabbit hole of, like, whose truth is true, and, like, are you a good guy or are you a villain? And they never bring it up again. And that could have been tied to the whole dad thing of, like, we don't know if he was a good guy or not, so just believe he was and try to do right by him. But they don't even touch on that.
Yeah, I really did think they were going to turn more on him for that, make that a lot more of a plot line, but...
Nope.
Because, like, even then I thought people wouldn't, so like maybe like divide the town. Because, like, the guy
No,
was...
we didn't care enough.
Because the guy was clearly an asshole, right? Clearly probably drunk and aggressive. I can't remember his name. It's Axel or
Aces.
Aces. Yeah. Aces. Clearly he's an asshole. Clearly leading, like, a crew of near thugs, I guess.
It's just his brothers.
He's
They're all
he's up harassing the prostitutes. He's breaking in the door almost, trying to see his girl
He's
or
just
get his
horny.
turn early. He's got to wait his turn, man.
But he's horny now.
Listen, the sheriff is paying good money for this guy
Oh,
to
geez.
drink, eat, and get fucked.
I'm horny and I want sex now.
And then I just loved the, you gonna shoot me? Yeah.
Yeah, actually. And then she's literally pleading with the main character, going, help me. And he's just sitting there like,
He freezes so hard and she gets shot. And then he's like, oh, I guess I should shoot him now.
Yeah.
Let me fire.
Hated him.
Bang.
Hated the main
Of course
character.
takes him out, but just always after he needs to help.
And then, you know who else I hated? The sheriff's wife. Because he gives her explicit direction of, if anybody comes to the door, regardless of who they are or what they wear, even if they're a holy man wearing the holy man costume, which he goes, costume? He goes, evil wears all kinds of stuff these days, which was another line I liked. He's like, shoot them in the face the second they open their mouth. And sure enough, she just doesn't. And then not only doesn't do that, also invites the motherfucker in. And just like, here, sit at my kitchen table. Not only is she a bitch, but the main character who was sitting there, just because she doesn't know who he is, because she didn't.
Yeah.
The main character is standing in the barn with a shotgun or a rifle, watching this shit the whole time, and does nothing until half an hour later. What an idiot. He should have shot him right then. He's such a loser, dude. Wait, what was his line? I can't say it. What was his line about the difference between him and the other guys?
Negras. Oh my gosh, yes. I had never heard that before.
Like I said, there's a couple of good lines in there. They're
Mostly
just few
Samuel
and
Jackson.
far between. Yeah. But there's a couple of good ones in there. We've talked way more about this movie than I thought we would. And we didn't have to. That's
no,
the
we
thing.
didn't have to.
All of this could be cut and I wouldn't care.
Well, I won't stop you.
We're just trying barely to stretch this out into 15 minutes. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Please leave a like, leave a review, comment, anything. All the algorithm things, it all does help. Share. For some reason, we can't get any more subscribers. I don't know what we're doing wrong. So help us out if you can. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.